All right, we're going to try this for a third time. And if this does not work this time, then I guess I will just upload something tomorrow. So again, what's up, what's up, what's up, everybody? Tony Vinchelle with the Stronger You Fitness, ASU Fit, and the Becoming a Stronger You movement. So, let me go ahead and apologize first for anybody who was on the first two takes. I am going to start all the way from the beginning because I did delete the first two takes I did of this because Facebook Live was acting up and it was jiggling and pausing and all this other kind of stuff, and I could not get it to act right. So I will be starting from the beginning. So if you are on and you have already heard what I'm about to say, in the beginning part, I apologize, but if you stick with me through the part that you've already heard, then you will get to hear some of the other information that I have here in my notes. And so I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that this thing works. What's up, Nate? And that's going to be it. So again, I'm going to start from the beginning because I deleted the other two takes for anybody who may not have been on the first two takes. So just kind of bear with me. Okay. So we are talking about how to handle your fitness, health, and wellness while you are in the midst of a breakup. So going back to what I said before, when I was in the middle of a breakup, going through a breakup, a very bad breakup, and so what's up, Pam? So I know what it's like. And again, let me make this disclaimer. I am said you started talk writing. Let me make this disclaimer. I am not a therapist. I am not a social worker. I am not a psychiatrist or a psychologist of any kind. What I am offering are some strategies that help me get through what it was that I was going through. And these are some of the same strategies that help me get through some of the rough times that I go through. And so take it for what it's worth. Take it, with a grain of salt. Take it at face value. Take it however you want to take it. But please do not take it as any type of medical advice because I am not a medical professional. Okay. Now that we have that out of the way. So you're going through a breakup. And one of the things one of the first things that goes out of the window is your workouts, your nutrition, mental health a lot of times in a lot of cases because we're going through so many emotions. And it hurts and it sucks and there's a lot of tears and there's a lot of lonely nights and there's a lot of headaches and there's a lot of snot and there's a lot of just a whole lot of emotional turmoil that goes along with that process. What I will tell you is that getting through this and also trying to maintain your fitness, health, and wellness is possible. However, it does take work. It takes work and it takes work over a period of time. And that period of time is going to be different for everybody. It might be a few weeks for some people. It might be a month for some people. For other people, it might be a few months. But as with anything in life, you can work through it as long as you are willing to do the work. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about, the strategies that I'm going to talk about tonight, it's work. It requires you actually doing physical work. And so if you're up for that, then I hope this helps. I decided to do this video because I'm in another group. And I saw a young lady post that she's going through a really, really bad breakup. And of course, her fitness and nutrition are out of the window, and she's trying to figure out how to hold on to that and how to take care of her mental health as well. So I'm going to post this for her, and hopefully this helps some other people as well. All right, so back to that experiment that I was trying to explain that one of my professors explained to me in college. Group of college students, all in the same classroom, taking the same course with the same professor, all studying for the same exam. And basically what happened was before the exam, the students were broken up into two different groups and they all had these little probes on their head or whatnot. I'm not a neurologist, so I'm probably not even using the right terminology, but I'll explain it the best way that I can. And so the first group was allowed to journal about 5 to 10 minutes before the exam. And as they were journaling, it reported in the study that you could see different areas in their brain being released, as if the stress was being released, and those areas in their brain were not firing as actively, right? And so when they took the exam, they had that same experience. I think so. think you're right. I'm not sure. Like, don't quote me on that. Like I said, this was something that my professor was explaining to me. Because I went in and I went to speak to her about some testing anxiety that I was having at the time. And so this was a conversation that she had with me. But when they were taking the exam, you could see that those areas in their brain were still free. Whereas the other group who did not get the opportunity to journal before the exam, you could see that those areas in their brain were constantly firing as if they were constantly under this stress. And so needless to say, the students who did get the opportunity to journal did far better on the exam than the students who did not get the opportunity to journal. And so, journaling for me has always been a huge thing. I'm a huge fan of journaling because there is something about getting those thoughts out of your head and onto a piece of paper, getting them somewhere other than your head, that helps with the release of those emotions. Does it make the pain go away all at the same time? Absolutely not. But what it does is it provides you with a strategy to help you work through the pain so that you can still continue to function. Because unfortunately, even though we go through a breakup, and even though it sucks and you want to cry all the time and you hate yourself, depending on the circumstances of the breakup, you're feeling bad about yourself, you have all of this low self-esteem, unfortunately, life still goes on. You still have to go to work. You still have to go to class. So what this does, what I'm about to talk about, it gives you just a method to help you maintain your sanity as you start to work through this, as you start to work through the pain, and while you're waiting on the pain to get better. Okay? All right. So here's my suggestion. I would suggest that you invest in 3 journals. 1 regular size journal, that's like a regular size notebook, and 2 small pocket journals. The regular size journal is the one that you're going to use at home. And this is the one that, when you're crying, you're writing, and there's tears all over the paper, and there's snot all over the paper, and you're crying, and you're hurt, and you're angry, and sometimes you write on the lines, and sometimes you don't write on the lines, and sometimes you can make out what you're writing, and sometimes you can't make out what you're writing. It doesn't matter. It's an opportunity for you to take everything it is that you are feeling and bring it through your hand, through that pen, onto that piece of paper, so that you can get those thoughts and those emotions out somewhere other than your head and onto that piece of paper. So that's what the larger journal is going to be for. Now, the 2 small pocket journals, they serve 2 different purposes. So the first pocket journal is one that you can keep with you in your pocket, in your purse. It's the one that you can take with you to work, the one that you can take with you to class, the one that you can take with you to the grocery store, so that when you start to feel different emotions, if you have 2 or 3 minutes, if you're sitting on the toilet, a lot of things happen on the toilet. You're sitting on the toilet, you're on your break, whatever the situation may be, you can take a couple of minutes and just kind of jot those things down so you can get them out of your heart and get them out of your head. The second pocket-sized journal is going to be used so that anytime you have a negative thought, because again, a breakup for a lot of us is just a horrible thing, especially depending on the circumstances. And we have all of these thoughts. We are angry at ourselves. We don't like ourselves. You don't feel like you're worthy. Sometimes you might not feel like living anymore. You don't feel like continuing, I suck, I'm ugly, I'm fat, maybe if I would have done this, maybe if I would have done that. So you have all of these thoughts. In that second pocket-sized journal, what you're going to do is you're going to take, anytime you have a negative thought about yourself, you're going to write down what it is, you're going to tear it up, and you're going to find the nearest trash can or receptacle or whatever it is that you can find, and you are going to throw that thing away. There is something about writing it down, tearing it up, and throwing it out of your presence that offers a release. It's a symbolism for the release of those emotions. It's a symbolism for the release of that negativity, and you are getting that negativity as far away from you as you can. I went through a difficult time in college, and at one point, I had these pieces of paper, and if I was walking in the hallway and I had a negative thought, I would write it down, tear it up. And most of the classrooms at my university were kind of structured the same, so the trash cans were typically in the same place. I remember walking into classrooms where I didn't even have class, but because I knew that was where the nearest trash can was going to be, I would take that thought, write it down. Yeah, totally know I don't have class here. Boom, and it's in the trash can. And again, does this make all of the pain go away all the time at the same time? No, it does not. But it provides you with that symbolism of release. It provides you with, it's a tangible way of dealing with the emotions, because a lot of times we have so much stuff going on the inside, and we don't know how to deal with it. And it causes a lot of anger. It causes a lot of anxiety. It causes a lot of pain. It causes a lot of turmoil because you don't know what to do with it. You don't know how to express it. And sometimes we don't have people to talk to. Sometimes I remember going through periods in life when I was going through stuff and going through other breakups. I didn't have anybody that I trusted to talk to. And so when you don't have a person that you can dump those emotions on, you don't have a therapist, you don't have a friend, you don't have a family member that you can go to and release and shoulders to cry on. This is a tangible way that allows you to take control of how you can deal with these emotions. And again, it seems like it's a lot, but anything worth having is worth working for. And the ability to be able to move past this breakup is worth working for. And you can either choose to use a strategy like that or something similar, or you can choose to cry and feel helpless and feel totally out of control. Again, it's a choice that you have. Take it with a grain of salt. These are just some of the things that helped me. Now, at the end of the day, before you go to bed at night, you're writing those last few emotions. You're writing how you feel. You're writing all of the things that you wanted to say that you don't think that you'll get the opportunity to say. You're writing all of these things down. Okay? Then the last thing you want to do before you shut your eyes, again, I don't know if you're religious or whatnot. Some people pray, some people meditate. But other than that, what's up, Sarah? The last thing you want to do before you close your eyes at night is you want to take some time and write down what you want tomorrow to look like. And when you write that down, be as specific as possible. What time do you want to wake up in the morning? What do you want to eat? Where would you like to go? If you normally work out in the morning, what kind of workout would you like to do? Does it necessarily mean that you're going to do every single thing, that because you write it out perfectly, when you wake up tomorrow, it's going to be perfect and you're going to feel like working out and you're going to feel like making your meals? Absolutely not. But it's a step in that direction. And it gives you the opportunity to start putting some things out there in the atmosphere. This is what I want my tomorrow to look like. And what happens is when we write things down, oh, thank you, Sarah. What happens is when we write these things down, subconsciously, your brain starts to make moves to go in that direction. And I know for some people, they're going to say, oh, that's a whole bunch of frou-frou-la-la bullshit. I mean, again, take it for what it's worth. I just know that these are some of the things that help me get through. But your brain will subconsciously start to make moves in that direction. So when you wake up the next day, you might not do all of it, but you might do an eighth of it. And an eighth of it is better than none of it. That makes sense? And so you continue to work through that process day in and day out and day in and day out and day in and day out. And you continue to do that until you can see the end of the tunnel, until you can see the opening, until you can see things getting better. Again, this is just a tangible way to give you control over how you feel and how you deal with these emotions. All right? Now, let's talk about your physical activity. Okay. If you are used to doing some kind of physical activity, if you are going through, thank you, Nate. If you are going through a breakup or some other type of emotional turmoil, you are not going to feel like doing it. And A lot of people will say, you know what, just suck it up and get in there and go hardcore. That does not work for everybody. It doesn't. And if it does not work for you, then what you need to do is take things in small moments. What do I mean by that? Start by scheduling a 2-minute walk instead of a 30-minute walk. Like if you used to walk 30 minutes and right now the thought of walking 30 minutes is just unbearable. Hey, Antonio. And the thought of walking 20 minutes is just unbearable. Schedule a 2-minute walk. Walk for 2 minutes. And then when you walk for 2 minutes, cut it. Don't do anymore. Don't overwhelm yourself. And what you're going to tell yourself is, as I get consistent with these 2 minutes, then you know what? I can start going for 5. And maybe I can start going for 10. And then maybe I can start going for 30. And then you know what? Maybe after that, I just might find myself back in the gym again. But what you want to do is you want to schedule that. Put that in your phone, put that in your planner, and schedule that time. And take it little by little by little. I think people need to understand that it is okay to go through the grieving process. You know, some people, when they go through a tragedy, they actually become more focused on their fitness, health, and wellness. Hello. Okay, I guess I'm back. For a lot of people, that's not the case. And so what you have to do is you have to take it in small pieces, and then you have to learn to be okay with that. You have to learn to be okay with the fact that, you know what, today I may only get 5 minutes in because that's all I can take emotionally. And that's okay, because ultimately you have to do this thing in a way that helps you keep your sanity. You have to work through this in a way that does not overwhelm you, because if you become overwhelmed with your physical activity, you're already overwhelmed by the emotions from the breakup. It's going to be counterproductive and you're going to find yourself in a backward spiral. All right. Now let's talk about nutrition. Okay. This is probably the last thing that you want to think about. For a lot of people are either stress overeaters or they are stress non-eaters. All right. So as you're going through these emotions, you may not plan all of your meals. It just is what it is. I mean, you may get super focused and plan them, but you may not. And you may not want to do it because you just don't feel like it. So what you want to do is, in the midst of that time, you want to make sure that you are on your multivitamin. You want to make sure that you're taking your vitamin C to help you with your go ahead and up your vitamin C to help you with your immune system. Make sure that you're getting your B12, your vitamin D, and make sure that you are getting as much sunlight as possible. Why? Because during this time, you may not feel like planning your meals, and that is okay, because you just don't feel like doing it. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you take care of any nutrient deficiencies that may occur during this time. Because understand that what we eat and what we don't eat, and what we have and what we lack, has a lot to do with how we feel and how we handle emotions. Low levels of vitamin D have been associated with increased levels of depression. And you don't have to take my word for it. I tell people all the time to go to PubMed. A lot of those articles that are available on PubMed is like the Google for scientific research. You can find a lot of those articles for free without having to sign up for the scientific journals that they are in. You can Google, if you use Google Scholar and type in vitamin D and depression, you'll be able to see a listing of articles. Type in nutrient deficiencies and depression. If we're missing nutrients and we don't have what it is that we need, it will increase, or it may increase, the time that it takes for you to grieve and increase the time that it takes for you to recover. So with your sunlight, If you're not living in the rainy season, roll all of your windows down, cut your air conditioner off. If you have a sunroof, open your sunroof and get as much of that light into you as you possibly can. If you have a window in your office, if you work in a call center and you have a choice as to where you can sit, sit by the window. If you don't, park your car a little bit further away so that you can get some sunlight. On your break, go outside and purposefully stand in the sun. I do that often, even when I'm not feeling depressed or even when I'm not feeling sad. Go outside and find the sun and purposefully stand in the sun so that you can get access to and process that vitamin D. Again, it's just helping you with your nutritional deficiencies. It's telling me my connection is weak. Okay, come on, Facebook. Let's do this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and keep talking. Okay. So that's what you want to do. If you can think about it, get as much live food as you can. Live vegetables, live fruits. Don't count calories. Don't count macros. Just eat some good stuff if you can. And it's telling me my connection is weak again. All right. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and keep going. And that'll be the end of that. The last thing that I'm going to say. Oh, thank you, Nate. Thank you. The last thing that I'm going to say here is, or the last two things I'm going to say. Sometimes you just need to go ahead and eat the damn cake. You can still hear me? Okay, awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Sometimes you just need to eat the damn cake. Sometimes you need to go ahead and eat the fried chicken. Go ahead and get the French fries. Go ahead and get the ice cream. Because in the beginning of the grieving process, thank you, Nate. In the beginning of the grieving process, sometimes we just need to do the things that make us feel good. And as long as they don't hurt you, as long as you're not taking like drug needles and, relapsing on, drugs or anything like that. Like if you're, if you have those kind of issues with alcohol and drugs, please, please, please make sure you reach out and get some help. Pills, that kind of stuff. And sometimes we just need to do what makes us feel good. If you want those chili cheese fries, damn it, go get them. And just do and be okay with that and know that you're working through it and know that eventually you'll get to a point where you won't need to use that as a crutch. And a lot of people are not going to agree with me when I say that, but I'm speaking from experience. The other thing that I wanted to say is make sure that you change your playlist. What you put into you is going to be extremely important. And that's just not just your music. When I say change your playlist, that's not just music. That's your friends with negative attitudes. That's your friends that are always complaining. That's your people around you who always have sob stories. People who are always depressed. Two depressed people can't hang out together. If you have that one person who every time you call them is woe is me, I hate life, and whatever, for a while, you don't need to talk to that person. You don't need to talk to or be around anybody who is not going to uplift you and make you feel good and pour that time and energy into you. And there's going to be some people who might be upset with you because you need to kind of hang back for a little bit. And if they're really your friends, then they will understand. If they're really your friends, they will understand. If they're not your friends, they won't understand. And so fuck them. I know that's harsh language. You know what I'm saying? But feed them fish. Right? But you don't need to be around anybody who's going to be negative. So make sure that you are changing your music only listen to, let me tell you something, do not pop Adele in your CD player. Do not get in your car and start going, hello from the other side. Don't do it to yourself. Thank you. Thank you. Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it. If it comes on the radio and it's negative, change it. Cut your radio off. Make yourself a CD. Buy a CD. Hell, find the bootleg man and find the hottest crump music in the city that you live in and listen to that. Because sometimes we need, a lot of times success is based upon all of these little bitty small things that we do. Success is based on an accumulation of all of these little bitty small things that we do. And sometimes with your music, you need those small increases in your vibration for those 2 to 3 minutes. You need those because that 2 to 3 minutes can be the catalyst to help you make it through the next 2 to 3 minutes. And that can be the catalyst to help you make it through the next 30 minutes. And before you know it, you've made it through an entire day and you lay down and you say, man, I live to fight another day. All right. And the last thing that I want to leave you with is this. Remember that it always feels worse than it really is. And many times it looks worse than it is. And it feels like it'll never end. It feels like it'll never get better. And I say that because I know that pain. Like I know it's a pain and it's right here. And like I know what that pain feels like. I know that pain. Trust me, when I tell you I know that pain, I know that pain, and I know that pain in so many different forms and shapes and fashions, and I know that pain. But what I also know about that pain is that it's not forever. And that, oh my God, like I'm trying not to cry right now. Like I'm really getting ready to cry. Thug tears. Okay. I'm glad the connection is weak because y'all don't need to fully see what I look like right now. But like, I know what that pain feels like, but what I also know is that it's temporary and it doesn't last forever. And that if you work at it and you keep moving forward, it gets better. And sometimes you have to crawl. Sometimes you have to scoot on your belly. And sometimes you might look at the end of the day and realize you've only moved 1/8 of an inch. Tears back life. Sometimes you might look and realize that you've only moved 1/8 of an inch. But understand, and this is the same thing that I tell my clients with their weight loss. Understand that some progress is progress. And even if all you moved is 1/8 of an inch from that line that you drew in the sand, you're still 1/8 of an inch further away from where you started. And even if you make little bitty small moves and it's 1/8 at a time, 1/8 at a time, 1/8 at a time, 8 of those will give you 1. And as long as you keep moving and you keep pressing forward and you don't give up and you celebrate those itty bitty victories, before you realize it, you'll be able to combine all of those victories and you'll be able to look back at this time and realize how short of a period of time it was for you. So anyway, guys, that's all that I have. I hope that helped. I'm going to post it here, then I'm going to post it in that group for that young lady. And yeah, I hope it helps. I really, really, really do. So I am out of here. And until I talk to you all again, stay strong, stay beautiful, and always, always, always work towards becoming a stronger you. Peace out.